Thanks for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. Wench's impressive topography will contribute immensely to Ethiopia's ecotourism sector, said Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. The remark came when the construction of Wenchi ecotourism project has been officially launched today in the presence of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and other high-ranking government officials. Alula Taklamarian presents the following story.
Wenchi Ecotourism Project is one of the tourism development sites of the Dine for Nation initiative of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Located in the state of Oromia, Wenchi is endowed with natural resources that deserve to be among the country's top tourism destinations. While launching the project Saturday, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said Wenchi's paramount topography will contribute a versatile advantage to the country's ecotourism sector.
Left naannoo Wenchi baay'ee ol ka'aadha.
Wenchi's highland topography helps it get always fresh air. It is found at 3,000 km above sea level. So upon the completion of this project, it will add some to the country's economy. What makes Wenchi unique is not only its natural beauty, but also its historic features related to the site. Wenchi is Christianity as of 14th century. So we all need to join hands to develop this location and make it one of the nation's top tourist destinations.
Innovation Minister and manager of the project, Abraham Belai, said the project will be carried out in different phases.
Projectu በምዕራፎች ተከፋፍሎ የሚሰራ ሲሆን
the project will be accomplished in different phases. Accordingly, what we have commended today includes the construction of asphalt road to Wenchi Lake and other asphalt road that rounds the mountainous area of Wenchi. There will also be asphalt road connecting the two lakes. School, health, telecom center and other recreational facilities will be built in this area.
Chief of the Oromia State Shimelis Abdisa, to his part, said Wenchi has been disregarded for a long time regardless of its natural beauty.
A U.S. delegation led by Senator Chris Coons arrived in Addis Ababa today to discuss the humanitarian situation in Tigray and other key issues with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Demek Emekonnen. The delegation this afternoon met with Foreign Minister Demek Emekonnen and discussed a range of issues regarding the military operation in Tigray and the border disputes with Sudan. Demek briefed the delegation about the real situations in Tigray so as to clear confusions that the U.S. government previously had. Solomon Danya reports.
This is the first American delegation that arrived in Addis Ababa for an official visit since President Biden took office. The delegation led by Chris Coons seeks to discuss the humanitarian situation in Tigray and the nature of the military oppression the government of Ethiopia is carrying out in the state of Tigray. Receiving the delegation early in the afternoon, Ethiopian Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Demek Emekonnen clarified the confusions that the U.S. government had about the military oppression in Tigray. It's to be recalled that the Ethiopian Minister of Foreign Affairs debunked a blatant statement released by America's Secretary of State Antony Blinken about the situation in Tigray. Spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Dina Mufti, who attended the discussion, said the meeting was decisive to let America know about the truth.
This face-to-face engagement, and especially the coming of the delegation, will help to clear confusions that had been around from various sources, and definitely things will be straight out in favor of peace and order. He listened attentively to the briefings of the Deputy Prime Minister. He is fascinated and he is very much comfortable with the way he has given the briefings. We believe he has understood or has definitely realized the situation on the ground, and definitely will carry out the right message, the message that will be constructive, the message that will help strengthening existing relationship between the two countries.
According to Ambassador Dina, Senator Chris Coons and his country America considers Ethiopia a strategic ally in Eastern Africa. Reaffirming America's commitment to closely follow the situation in Ethiopia, Senator Coons urged the government and humanitarian organizations to intensify humanitarian assistance in Tigray.
There is also strong willing and desire on the part of the Ethiopian government so as to create conducive situations for the investigations into alleged crimes of human rights violations through independent agencies, in cooperation with agencies like the African Human Rights Commissions and the UN Human Rights agencies, as well as domestic pertinent institutions like Ethiopian attorneys, federal police commissions and others. The government is ready to carry out independent and critical investigations into the allegations of the human rights violations.
Foreign Minister Demeke Mekonnen unequivocally asserted that Ethiopia does not want any interference in its law enforcement operation under its territory. Also briefed the delegation about Sudan's aggression in the border areas. Regarding the GERD, Demeke said Ethiopia wants to stick to the tripartite negotiation which has been held under the auspices of the African Union.
Representatives of various contesting political parties have lauded the efforts of the National Electoral Board of Ethiopia to undertake the 6th general election impartially. Prosperity Party is optimistic that the 6th general election will have different features unlike any other of the previous elections in the country. Habtamu Ashagri has compiled Ethiopian news agency's file as follows.
Ethiopia's upcoming 6th general election is expected to strengthen the democratization process in Ethiopia. Credible democratic election can also play an unprecedented role to alleviate a multitude of socio-economic and democratic issues Ethiopians have been struggling for decades. Over the past 2 years, the National Election Board of Ethiopia has been undertaking various institutional reform activities to help it conduct a free, fair and credible election. And several contesting political parties who are preparing to get majority votes in the upcoming election commend the measures being taken by the National Election Board of Ethiopia.
ከዚህ በፊት ኤክስፒሪየንስ ያልነበረው ልምድ ያልነበረው ምርጫ ቦርድ ነው እንደ አዲስ ተቋቁሞ ይሄን ምርጫ እያደረገ ያለው ስለዚህ በጣም ዲፊከልት
The National Electoral Board of Ethiopia has had no experience to undertake democratic election in the previous times. Thus, we understand they've been managing difficult tasks. We've seen that the National Election Board of Ethiopia is creating enabling environment for the upcoming election. We believe that they are mainly undertaking activities to undertake the upcoming election impartially.
በፓርቲዎች መካከል እየሰሩ ነው ጥሩ ስራ እየሰሩ ነው ብለን ነው ምናምን
National Movement of the Amhara People for its part said the board is implementing fruitful activities to modernize its active working force and implement better technology within short period of time.
በአጭር ጊዜ ውስጥ ምርጫ ለማካሄድ የተሄደበት የቴክኖሎጂ ኢንስቲትዩሽናል በአዲስ መልክ ተቋሙን የመገንባት
The National Election Board of Ethiopia is undertaking effective activities by implementing institutional reform activities as well as using technology to undertake the upcoming election within a short period of time. It has also good relation with opposition political parties. I think it is better to work to further strengthen its capacity and take its reform activities to the grassroots. As opposition political party, we've also good relations with the board.
Sharing the views of other parties, Prosperity Party is optimistic that the 6th general election will have different features unlike any of the previous election of the country. The party called upon voters and political actors to take their responsibility to undertake free, fair and democratic election in the country.
This election won't be like the previous elections. We were desirous to undertake democratic elections in the previous times, but we spoiled every chance to realize it. Thus, we have to use this opportunity properly. As a result, we have to voice our idea to get the public interest as well as to help the public benefit from the election. We have to communicate and understand each other how to solve the desire of the public. If we are practicing it effectively, we can cultivate the democratic process at large. So I hope every political party takes this concern into account.
The party further urges the media to serve opposition political parties fairly in a bid to minimize the concern of the general public.
Former Israeli ambassador to Ethiopia, Avi Avraham Granot, said the acts of TPLF clique have violated all the values of democracy by irresponsibly instigating war with government forces. The former ambassador urges the general public to support the government exercising the values of democracy peacefully. Habtamu Ashagri has the details.
Former Israel ambassador to Ethiopia and African Affairs Director General of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Israel, Avi Avraham Grano, said that PLF war crime against the federal government is unacceptable. Talking to ILTV, the former ambassador said the act of TPLF cliques have violated all the values of democracy by irresponsibly instigating war against government forces.
We have been following how the world, for example, reacts to what is happening in the Middle East. And in a sense, I find a lot of similarities.
Yes.
There is a very, very, almost I would say naive approach by many countries saying we don't accept violence from any side. I'm sorry. When you have criminals and you have the police, I'm sorry. When the criminals shoot at the police has the obligation, not the right, the obligation to protect the public. To protect the public. So it's not violence of both sides. It's not violence on both sides. Governments have the responsibility to protect their population. If a country is invaded by a foreign element, it's not violence on both sides. And we continuously have been explaining to many countries, mostly in Europe.
According to the ambassadors, the foreign intervention attempts against the law enforcement operation, which has been carefully managed by the federal government of Ethiopia, violates the right of the federal government as well as the sovereignty of the country.
I agree with you. This is, in a sense, we have an interesting example. I'll give you a very interesting example of recent. Look what happened in Washington, D.C. when people stormed Congress. This is the same thing, the same thing. And look at the reaction of the American people. Look at the reaction of Congress. It's unacceptable. You storm your representatives because you don't like the result of the elections? Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. So in a sense, any attempt, Fasil, by anybody to use force, to use arms against the authority, if the authority is democratic. I make the distinction between, for example, the TPLF fighting the Derg, fighting Mengistu. This was a freedom fight. This was a freedom fight. But now, when you have the option of joining a democratic process, there's no need to use arms. There's no need to use arms. It's not a freedom fighting against a democratically elected prime minister.
All political actors need to peacefully recognize the political climate by not opting conflict as a last resort to uphold the government chosen by the public. The former ambassador urges the general public to support the government exercising the value of democracy peacefully.
I have a message to the Ethiopian people. Struggle in democratic ways. We have upcoming elections in Israel. We have a bitter fight. It's a political fight in parliament. In parliament. Sometimes it is nasty, sometimes it is ugly, sometimes they use terrible language, but eventually the ballots will determine, not the bullets.
Everyone needs to feel the pain of the democratic process, Ambassador Avi Avraham Granot believes, and hopes that Ethiopia can realize effective democratization.
Ethiopia, Canada, and Senegal co-hosted the first Canada-Africa Clean Growth Symposium virtually. The three-day symposium aimed at exploring innovative policies to grow robust, low-carbon economies and build resilience to climate change and future shocks, fostering cooperation, research, and international alliances devoted to clean growth, as well as mobilizing capital for clean and low-carbon growth and energy in Africa. During the symposium, Ethiopian Commissioner for Planning and Development, Fitsum Asafa, presented Ethiopia's climate change resilient and green growth economic strategy that aims to realize sustainable economic development with environmentally friendly policies and strategies. The Commissioner also elaborated Ethiopia's tremendous efforts to reduce climate change vulnerabilities and exemplary role in the ongoing reforestation efforts with active involvement of the country's top leadership. She underlined the need for comprehensive strategy to fight against desertification across Africa and noted that industrialized countries like Canada are contributing the lion's share in polluting the environment and therefore should extend their financial, technical, and technological support to assist mitigation and adaptation efforts by developing countries like Ethiopia. An exclusively Doing Business with Ethiopia event was also held, which focused on spotlighting Ethiopia's huge investment and trade opportunities. During the session, His Excellency Ambassador Misganu Arega, State Minister with the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and His Excellency Eunatu Hailu, Special Advisor to the Commissioner of Ethiopian Investment Commission, highlighted Ethiopia's homegrown economic reform agendas and called on investors to tap into the immense investment and trade opportunities in the country. His Excellency Dr. Eyob Tekkalin, State Minister for the Ministry of Finance, has also joined the event, elaborating on Ethiopia's strategies and concrete steps taken to strengthen its post-COVID-19 economic recovery and the need for increased resilience. He also stressed the need for fostering regional and local cooperation and international alliances to ensure clean growth and enhance adaptation capacities.